We're all Mike Richards, as it is a Tuesday, and as you know, it is Meet the Steelheads. We do it each and every week as the Steelheads head towards the playoffs, and it's getting extremely tight. It's getting very tight. Not surprisingly, it is I don't know how times you have to say it, but it's a tough league. It's a reflection of a portion of these players and a substantial number of players that go to the NHL. So if you want to see them before you have to pay was it $200 a ticket, whatever they're selling at the Leafs, you better see them now. And even better is the quality of person that ends up in Mississauga. A lot of them Mississauga raised, a lot of them in their own backyard get to play in front of their family, which is why I keep telling people that, I know a lot showed up. The Kingston game was great last week. Get to the Paramount. It's a nice facility, and the kids play their guts out, and they're great kids. And we have yet another one. Did you hear that, Jake? I called you great. Jake Uberti.
Yeah.
Jake, how's that? Do you go around your house saying, do you know who I am? Mike Richards just said I'm great. So let's make it the dinner.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That feels awesome. I'm going to start walking around the home, get my parents to start calling me the great one or something.
No, I didn't say the great one. That means something different. Well, thanks for joining us here on the show. We look forward to it each and every week. You guys certainly do us proud. And, the one thing that is evident with only like literally a handful of games left is this thing has gotten extremely tight for you guys.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. And yeah, it's come down to the wire. It's exciting hockey to play, and I'm sure it's exciting to watch. So that's just how we like it.
Yeah. And so talk about that, because I think sometimes the wiring of the athlete is just so different than how fans see it. Like the fans don't like close, right? The moms and the parents, especially the moms, they don't want to see these tight games. Like they'd love to see a blowout each and every game because it's easy for them. But the athlete likes it when the intensity is higher. I assume you're that way too.
Yeah, no, exactly. Obviously, we would have liked to keep that cushion we had in January at the top of the standings, but things just didn't work out that way. Yeah, close games are exciting. They're easy to get up for. They get the blood pumping. Everyone's at their best when the games are closest. So it's the most fun to play. It's the most competitive. The team you're playing is at your best. So it's really in its raw form, just like out competing the other team, which is cool, and seeing where your best matches up against theirs, which is fun.
Now, when you look at it and what you have done, obviously there was a huge trade. So sometimes you can only compare what it's like to play on other teams when someone actually has played on another team. The one thing about this team that comes out each and every week is the closeness that you guys have. Like it's an extremely close team, and people just assume, or people would say to me, yeah, you say that because it's the home team, but every team is close. I don't know if that's true. What do you think?
It's definitely not true. That's what's special about this group is how close everyone is. From the 05s to the 01s, everyone's best buddies. It's kind of weird in a way. Everyone's like brothers on this team, so it makes it really easy to go out and play and work your nuts off for the guy sitting next to you in the room.
Hey Jake, I'm Brendan. Nice to meet you. I was just wondering too, you coming over from a different team, how easy was it really to fit in with these guys?
It was really easy, actually. I had known a couple of the guys prior. I like Del Bell's from Vaughan, where I'm from, and I played with Dodig and Callahan, and I played against Collins and Stubbs and a lot of the other guys on the team. So I was familiar with a lot of the boys on the team. And then from the second I walked in there, like right when I walked in there, Hardy greeted me, said hello, and he's like, he made everything really easy for me. He explained the daily routine and whatnot. So he was huge in making me feel comfortable. And just all the boys, right when I got in there, they all introduced themselves. They all said hi. And right from the get-go, I knew I was going to have a good time, and it was a special group, and we were going to win a lot of hockey games.
Well, and that's why I really want to see ultimately like some great success. We're huge fans of not only the team, but James Richmond has been, of all the coaches and general managers, and I've known a lot of them doing this over the years, probably 30 years in total. I certainly have my favorites. I certainly have the guys that I enjoy too, and I've enjoyed talking to JR as much, or not more, than any of them that I've ever met. There is something about him, and this is what I tell people in Mississauga, that you're lucky to have him. Like, you're
Right.
actually lucky to have it. And I think that you must have felt it. I mean, you've had different coaches over the years. You've always played at the highest level of hockey, but there's something, I think, very special about this man.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Definitely your coaches and GMs have a huge impact on your career and your development. And I noticed that JR, since I've been here, has had a really positive impact on mine in the short amount of games that I've been here. So I'm really happy and grateful for that. You could tell he's an elite hockey mind. He knows what he's talking about. He's a very competitive guy. So he expects your best each night, which is great. So that's what all the boys bring, their best each night, and that's why we've been able to win and be competitive so many nights, like on a nightly basis.
We're in conversation with Jake Uberti from the Mississauga Steelheads. It is Meet the Steelheads on Raw Mike Richards, Newstalk Sauga 960. Brendan, did you want to get in another question here?
Yeah, sure. So the last two games have been 2-1 losses, really close games, kind of different than the earlier matchups you guys played against Kingston in North Bay. Is that kind of indicative how it's going to be going on later into the season and into the playoffs, like those low scoring defensive battles?
Yeah, exactly. They've been tight games. We're giving ourselves a chance to win each night. Just it's unfortunate the bounces aren't going our way. Against Kingston, I think Becker hit the post 3 times, twice in the third period. So like we're playing our game for the most part. There are a couple lapses both times in each game where we let Kingston and North Bay in. But other than that, we've been playing some pretty good hockey of late, and the bounces just aren't going our way. But we know push comes to shove that eventually they'll have to start going our way if we keep doing what we're doing and control what we can control. So we're excited to come down the stretch. What's gonna go on in playoffs.
Well, the one other issue that seems to have worked its way out was there were a lot of injuries. There were a lot of guys out, which is it's tough on the team, but it's super tough on guys who have to sit and watch. It's really not easy for an athlete to not be a part of it, especially when you're as close as you are. So that must have felt good seeing some of those guys back in the lineup.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's difficult when you're injured for the injured guys. You kind of lose touch with the group a little bit because you're thrown off your keister, you're thrown off your routine a little bit. So it's difficult and frustrating when guys get injured, for sure. And yeah, just not being around your best buddies every day is tough too. But every team goes through it eventually throughout the year. It's a grind. It's a 68 game season. So it just so happened that as a team we went through it towards the end of the year, but rather now than in playoffs. So we're excited to get going.
Well, when you guys are going, and I use it in the hockey terms, or when you get going, what are the kinds of things that happen that you know when you're playing the way that your coach expects you to play? What are the kinds of things you're doing on the ice? What does it look like?
Right. When we're playing the way we want to be playing, we're really not giving the opposing team much. We're stopping them before our blue line. We're turning pucks over. We're out shooting them. We're really just dominating games. We're working our tails off, and a lot of teams just don't match our work ethic, and that's why we've been successful this year.
Well, it doesn't hurt. I know, certainly as a goalie, and I never had the luxury of having 7 feet tall defensemen skate around me, because that doesn't hurt. And if it becomes a defensive game, if it starts getting a little tight, I don't mind seeing those big trees behind me.
No, exactly. I'm coming from a different team, having to play against those guys like 8 times a year. It was really difficult and frustrating. Each and every one of those guys play the game at a really high level. They're all really big, really physical, really tough to play against, really long. And they don't overcomplicate the game. They play it really simple. It's how it should be done. And yeah, all 7 of those guys back there are really solid, great players.
So was it weird when you joined the team and you look at some of those giants and you're like, Yeah, I didn't really like you all that much when we had to play you guys. Was there any awkwardness?
Uh, no, as much as you would think there would be awkwardness. Like we got into some pretty good battles over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Especially me and OJ are we got into it a lot, like almost every game. So um I guess like a fan would figure that it would be a little awkward, but um the guys that you hate to play against are the best guys in the room and the easiest guys to get along with. So I found that was exactly the case. As much as I hated to play against those guys, they're all great guys in the room. So it was real easy.
So was it like Step Brother where you were like, okay, you may call me Dragon? Was it one of those? Well, we as I said, we love what you guys have done. We know there's certainly more coming, and I really hope that people, now that there are no restrictions, that you can come out and see the games, because the Paramount's a pretty good place to come and see it, and it's nice to see, you know. And look, I'll be honest, the other families, the other parents, people from town. I mean, you were a Mississauga rep kid, right? So this is your own backyard. You dream about this kind of stuff, right? And the one thing that COVID has taught us, Jake, you don't get this forever. This is that moment that some guys, because of missing like basically a year or two, if you want to put it that way, didn't get a chance to maybe fulfill something they wanted to do, whether it's at this level or in university sports. The time went by and you lost that. So you got to make the most of it. And I assume that in that dressing room, there is a feeling of, let's make the most of this, because that's how your coach is.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's definitely the sense in the room. You notice it more so with this team because how tight they are. For Prudes, Bass, and Brando, it's their last year. So when you see them lay it out on the line, it makes you want to play that much harder. Especially for a lot of the O2s, because we'll only have 3 next year. So we know it's going to be a lot of the guys last year as a group. So everyone's playing their tails off, and everyone wants to win for each other and themselves, and for the coaching staff and for all the fans. So we got a lot to play for. We got a lot riding on this, and we're really excited.
That you did an excellent job, by the way, here this morning. Just a tremendous job. So
Thank you.
Best of luck. Look forward to seeing you in the rink, and let's get her done in the playoffs.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Nice talking to you.
That is Jake Uberti joining us here this morning in Meet the Steelheads that we do each and every Tuesday. And as I said, it never fails. Where, I mean, you listen to these guys, you'll probably see a little bit later on that. How do you not love these young men? You know what I mean? They're all such good people, and it's what makes a community. You always want to say root for the home team. You want to cheer for the home team. But sometimes that just has to do with winning and losing, because that's your town and you want to see your team move on. But Brendan, when you meet these and I'll say kids, I can say that they represent your town well. And if you're in Mississauga, then if you listen to this segment or watch these guys later on Twitter, you should be very proud how they represent your town.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And when James Richmond has been on, he talks a lot about, getting good character guys and building the team from that and then on to the ice. And that's kind of a cliche, you hear a lot of people say that and you always think, well, is that really true or whatever? But in this scenario, it obviously is. Just talking to these guys, and you're right, they represent this city and the team very well.